Well, welcome into another exciting week of the Black and Gold Report. A little mid-season swap at the anchor desk for us, as I'm your host, Trevor Williams. Matt Sabatis is producing along with our great crew here at UNCP. While this last week has been a little quieter than usual on the home front, we opened this edition of the Black and Gold Report with a look back at football's trip to Wingate a weekend ago.
UNCP football on the road taking on a 4-0 Wingate squad. Wacky play to start the game here. A snap over the head of the punter, Isaac Parks, drives the Braves way back. This was on their first offensive possession of the game, so Wingate gets great field position inside the 15. They'll take advantage of it. James Whitaker connecting with Jay Hood over the middle for an 8-yard strike to help Wingate draw first blood. It's the first of two big touchdown catches on the day for Hood. We'll have more on that later. Braves defense standing pretty tall the rest of the first quarter. Wingate, though, finds a hole early in the second. Nearly a touchdown here for the big tight end, Jake Jensen. Bikimbi Kearney luckily able to drag him down, but the 48-yard pass from Whitaker to Jensen sets up a Lawrence Pittman 2-yard rushing touchdown just moments later as he tumbles over his final defender to find pay dirt for the Bulldogs. All of a sudden, they've jumped out to a 2-touchdown lead. Ensuing possession, though, with only 2 first downs on the night so far, the Braves get it going with the short hookup to E.J. Williams from Dominic Sampson. It lulls Wingate to sleep for the bomb down the seam on the next play to JoJo Spann. He keeps his feet, sheds the tackler, and it's an even 50 yards through the air for the first UNCP score of the night. Won't be the last time that Sampson and Spann will hook up in the contest either. Next possession, both punt teams having their struggles on the night. Wingate's turn to snap it too high. The 35-yard loss sets the Braves up 1st and 10 at the Wingate 19, just about at the halfway point of that second quarter. So now the Braves are knocking on the door. In the red zone for the first time, Dom Sampson fires the back shoulder fade. Defensive pass interference, not a problem for E.J. Williams. He makes the primetime catch to get the game back even. You can frame this one up and put it on the wall from his back pocket. What a catch by Williams, all tied at 14. Wingate had a field goal to make it a 17-14 lead in the third quarter. Dominic Sampson, first October game of the year for the Braves. Fog making it look like Halloween already, but Sampson plays Freddy Krueger on the Bulldogs secondary, again finding E.J. Williams, this time beating the corner on the crossing route to pull the Braves ahead. UNCP's first lead since week 2 of the season. You can see it again here, right over the middle. E.J. Williams just beating that cornerback to find plenty of space to run in for 6. So the Braves, they got that score after Code Black came up with the ball in a fumble recovery, but they could not expand on the 4-point lead. It's Lawrence Pittman running hard for Wingate towards the end of the third quarter, spinning and eluding tacklers for a 10-yard carry, ends up with 33 yards on the ground on this third quarter drive, and that sets up Jake Jensen's second touchdown of the day. The captain splits the defense right over the middle, and the broken coverage brings it in on the catch from 26 out, tilts the teeter-totter back in Wingate's direction. Now 24-21, as you see him again carving out that space, using the big frame to haul it in for the lead. Dominic Sampson was picked off earlier in the fourth quarter, but comes back on his next drive to hit JoJo Spann on a 42-yard lob. Hard to see Spann, who emerges through the fog for his second touchdown. It was the third of the night for Sampson, and Wingate apparently couldn't see the Braves' shifty wideout either through the fog. Shout out on the uniform selection. All white look, good camo, and it puts UNCP back up 28-24. Wingate's turn to throw a punch. They start their final drive of the night on this 20-yard Lawrence Pittman scamper. Look at him get through the first level of defenders, avoid a tackle, and then out of bounds. Sets it up later in the drive for them to go to the sky to cap it. James Whitaker finds Jay Hood through the fog for the go-ahead score. But wait a minute, the end zone cam might tell a different story. Can't see Hood's right foot here, but his left foot clearly lands out of bounds. Referees say he toe tap with his right foot. Wingate back on top by 3, 31-28. Final shot of the night for the Braves. 4th and 10 from the Wingate 40. Dominic Sampson lets it go. The good-looking desperation heave looked to be dropped as he tried to target his leading receiver, JoJo Spann, for the game winner. And then the second look showing a slight pass deflection by the Bulldog safety. Beat at first, just tipped it out of Spann's breadbasket, and Wingate survives to stay undefeated on the season. So that's the tale of the tape, 31-28, Wingate over UNC Pembroke. 5-0 now on the year for the Bulldogs, while the Braves fall to a disappointing 1-5 despite the late game heave. Some of the top performers, Dominic Sampson with 272 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. JoJo Spann caught 2 of them and had 144 yards receiving, but still not quite enough for UNCP.
Football has this week off from game action and heads to West Virginia next Saturday to take on Concord. The game is slated for a noon kick. Later in the show, we'll have head coach Shane Richardson on to talk about how his team is utilizing the bye week. Switching to UNCP soccer, they had a big match this week at home against top 5 Flagler. Let's check out the highlights from the match.
UNC Pembroke taking on number 5 Flagler, the first of 4 straight home matches for the Braves. Starts off early, second-minute goal from Theo Fastano, able to put it home past Gina Ryan, ends a streak of 301 consecutive scoreless minutes for the Braves keeper. Fastano, now the Peach Belt leader in goals scored. Stacey Scott answers right on back in the 13th minute with a header home off the foot of Christina Stevenson on the assist. Second time they've hooked up on a corner kick for a goal this year. The Braves get it back to even. We stay there until the 78th minute, and then it is put home by Abby Austin, in line to be her first career game-winning goal. But Stacey Scott again, 89th minute, ice water in the veins for Scott, evens it up, gets the equalizer to knot things at 2. And the score stayed gridlock, 2-2 for the two sides. We fast forward into the second overtime, just 20 seconds left. Look at this crazy play in the box, ball just bouncing around, pinballing to the corner. Braves are going to earn a corner kick off of this, and Christina Stevenson does everything she can to get a corner kick off in time. Pretty miraculous job by Stevenson just to land this where she does on the near side post, but it is caught by Flagler. Little shove at the end, but that is the final score. 2-2. The Braves split it with Flagler, but that's a great draw for UNC Pembroke, just the second team this year to not lose to Flagler. So UNC Pembroke, a pretty successful match there, and you can see Stacey Scott, the brace, Gina Ryan, a nice afternoon in net. Even despite the 2 goals, made a ton of saves for UNC Pembroke.
Soccer kicks off tonight against Lenore Ryan at 5 p.m. at Lumbee River EMC Stadium. The Braves are also home Monday at 5:30 against Lees McRae for the stadium's ribbon-cutting ceremony, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. versus Lander for Military Appreciation Night. Volleyball had just 1 game last Saturday, coming off a thrilling 4-set victory over Claflin October 5th. The Braves fell in straight sets last weekend to Flagler in St. Augustine, Florida, and the Braves continued their impressive run of blocking. They edged Flagler 5-4 in the block column. It was the 12th time in 19 matches UNCP has recorded more blocks than its opposition this year. UNCP cross country had an exciting weekend in Florida just over a week ago. Freshman Silas Kipkoech topped his personal best by nearly 50 seconds and helped the UNCP men to the top finish at the Florida State Invitational in the college division. The Braves women finished 5th amongst 15 other non-Division I teams at the same event. UNCP cross country is headed to the Peach Belt Conference Championships in Fort Benning, Georgia next Saturday. We'll talk to the director of cross country and track and field, Peter Ormsby, about the upcoming championships later on in the show. And now, last but not least, UNCP swimming finished 6th amongst 7 teams at the Converse Invitational last week. Abigail Wood won her 3rd race of the season and 1st in the 100-yard backstroke. She edged the 2nd-place finisher by 1/10 of a second. Swimming is also back in action next Saturday at the Barton Tri-Meet in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. We'll take a break here on the Black and Gold Report. When we come back, I'll sit down with the head football coach of the Braves, Shane Richardson. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. At 1-5, it isn't the record that UNCP football envisioned having at the bye week. I had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Braves, Shane Richardson, to get his thoughts at the bye after a nail-biting game with Wingate a week ago. So, Coach, we're just past the halfway point of the season now, and coming off the game against Wingate last week, let's just talk about maybe one word to characterize that game and what you thought about that game, kind of one word that could put that in perspective for folks.
Well, I think the word fight comes to mind, and we talked about our identity being a few different things, and we talked about the words effort and grit and toughness and energy, enthusiasm, competitive spirit, confidence. And those are kind of all just intangible things wrapped up into one, but I think fight is kind of the one umbrella term that maybe incorporates all those things. And so I really like the way that our guys handled that game in that atmosphere, and they came out and they just really clawed and fought and scratched and did everything possible to try to put themselves in a position to win.
Well, now this Saturday, no game right now for you guys, the middle of a bye week. What does that bye week look like when you guys start to look forward against Concord and the end of the season? How do you guys manage both rest for a banged up team and trying to get the most out of an extra week of buildup?
Yeah, it's a fine line, and I think as a coaching staff, you got to step back and look at where you're at and what you need. And right now, being just over halfway, I think the bye week comes at a great time. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to definitely take it as a week that is a bye week, not an off week. And I think there's a difference there. And so the mentality of our players have got to know we're still going to get better. You just got to trust the setup and the system and the structure of how we have things arranged here for the itinerary. And you'll get plenty of rest, and your body will start to feel good here come next Monday, next Tuesday, and then obviously when we get back on the field next Saturday, they'll be energized and ready to go. But one of the things we want to do is make sure that their tanks are full. And what that means is not only from a physical standpoint, but it's the mental and emotional and spiritual standpoint too, is they've got to feel good and make sure that they're motivated and inspired and ready to work and come every day. And so I think that's just as big of a factor, just as much as getting out there and practicing more plays. And so we want to be very smart with it.
Probably especially in the middle of having so many road games strung together. Is there one thing in particular you're most excited about your team having the extra week to work on? Something that you feel like maybe this team is right on the cusp of breaking through in, that extra week could help them get that ready before they head to West Virginia?
Well, I think that, coming out of the Wingate game, we feel like our identity and the foundation is alive. And I don't know that maybe we could have said that through the first 4 games or so. I would have said that the effort and the grit and the toughness and the competitive spirit and all the things that we're talking about, I don't know if those were all just at their highest and maximized level. And I feel like coming out of the Wingate game, those things really were apparent. And I would say those are alive and well. And so if we can keep those things, which we're going to coach those this week, and on top of that, really make sure that the details are just more precise and guys understanding how to receive coachability the first time, and that's what happens is, Trevor, is you get into a situation where if it takes guys 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times compared to a guy that can do it in 1, 2, or 3 times, well, you're looking at the process and the progress of that being either sped up or prolonged. Mm-hmm. And obviously you want it sped up, and we don't have time to wait. And so each week you got to be able to see that getting better and quicker all the time. And so we'll really focus on getting some of the execution really tightened up and making sure that guys are understanding every detail about it.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to the build-up the rest of this week as you guys get ready for another road test. Thank you for the time, Coach.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Trevor.
That was head coach of the Braves, Shane Richardson. We're going to take a timeout on the Black and Gold Report. We'll come back, and Peter Ormsby will join us. We'll be talking about cross country heading towards the Peach Belt Conference Championships. Don't go anywhere. Here with you on the Black and Gold Report, UNCP Cross Country is coming off an exciting finish of the Florida State Invitational just over a week ago. The Braves men topped their competition while the women finished 5th amongst 15 other schools. I caught up with the director of cross country and track and field, Peter Ormsby, to get his thoughts ahead of next weekend's Peach Belt Championships. So, Coach, let's talk about the team coming off the Florida State Invitational. Just what were your thoughts about that race a week ago?
Going in, we knew it was going to be a good race. It was probably one of the bigger races we've been to outside of the week Nashville 2 weeks ago. So to race against Florida State's, Florida A&M, some of the good Division I teams in Florida, And you had Florida Southern and then Tampa out of the South region for D2. So we knew if we played our cards right and executed a decent plan, we'd come out pretty good. So it was good to see the guys come out with a college victory, first time in program history doing that, and they announced that during awards. And the girls for 5th on the college side was exciting as well. We kind of flip-flopped the roster a little bit for that trip, but all in all, a pretty successful weekend.
You get both the team and the individual aspects of it. The freshman for you guys, Silas, who's been running so well. What have you thought about his ability to contribute both on a team and individual level? And how do you kind of characterize his whole time with the program so far?
He's more worried about the team aspect. So the last couple conversations we've had is where are the guys? Where the guys need to be for nationals and everything else. And so he's for as good as he is individually, he's so team centered, which is great, because usually when you have a person that's so far ahead of everybody else, they're more centered about themselves. But when he cares more about the team in certain aspects, it's a great person to have and a great atmosphere to create around him.
And what are you most looking forward to when you look at the Peach Belt Conference Championships and this group? What do you think they can succeed at when they go there and have the chance to compete in Georgia?
The sky's the limit. I think the guys, we're looking at a top 3 finish. Ultimately, we'd love to win like we did 2 years ago. Augusta's running superb right now. Flagler, you never know what you're going to get out of Flagler. And there's probably one other sleeper school that we're probably overlooking. But like I said, we can only control what we can control on the guys' side. The women, we had our 4th or 5th girl finish 3rd for us over the weekend. So the girls are still finding their own, and if we can have that flexibility with our top 7, the sky's the limit with them, especially with as many freshmen as we do have. So, the girls, top 4 finish would be ideal. Top 3 would be great to match it from, I think, 2 years ago. But we're so young on the girls' side or the ladies' side that we'll see what happens in a week's time.
Okay, Coach. Well, good luck to you guys in training, and good luck at the championships, and thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
As the head coach of cross country, Dr. Peter Ormsby. We'll take a time now on the Black and Gold Report and be right back after this. UNCP women's soccer hosts 3 home matches in the next 5 days, including a tussle with Lenore-Rhine tonight at 5 p.m. I caught up with soccer head coach Lars Anderson to talk about the team's progression, and we also mic'd up the coach so we could see UNCP soccer through the gaffer's eyes. So, Coach, you guys are around that midway point of the season. Obviously, pre-taping this interview before you guys had a chance to take on Flagler, but let's just talk about the first half of the season in general for you and what you thought of your team's play this year.
Well, I'm pleased. We're 7-3 and 4-1 in the conference at the time of this interview, and I'm a little disappointed, if I can nitpick a little bit, about the slow start we got off to, because that's something we had talked about going into this season. We didn't want to repeat the slow start of 2016 when we opened up, with 2 losses, and then obviously had a great season in the end. It's tough because NCAA does not allow us a very long preseason. We have 5 days, and then basically 2 weeks later we roll into the season. And I've always maintained that we need a longer preseason. We need more time before we start the season. And I don't think I'm alone in that opinion, but I'm not the king of college soccer. And everyone else is obviously dealing with the same challenge that we are. But in the big scheme of things, I'm happy where we're at. I feel good about the remaining 7 games. And, I think it's fair to say that the Peach Belt is going to be a complete rat's nest at the top. And I've joked and said there may be 3 or 4 teams getting together in Augusta at the conference office for a coin toss in the end to decide, seeding 1 through 5. So, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the challenges that lie ahead. And I'm excited that we're back here at LREMC Stadium for a lot of our remaining games. Obviously, we play well here. It's a beautiful facility, and we feel at home here, and we've always done well here. So, that's part of the equation. And this time of the year, little things like that, playing at home and having home field advantage can make a big difference. So I look forward to the remaining games. I look forward to the postseason, and I know the players are as well.
When you hit this stretch of the season, how do you grade your team right now heading towards that back half, that home stretch? What do you think about your team? If you had to give them a letter grade of where they are and where you think they can get to, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I always believe that we can, make the national tournament. That's why we play, and we've obviously been there multiple times before. I was a little disappointed, like I said, in the start to the season, but I'm starting to like where we're at. 4-1 in the conference. This is a conference that's going to come down to I think a point or two here and there. But I don't want to peek too far ahead. We take it one game at a time, but I certainly like the direction we're headed in. I have a good feel for this team. I think they're starting to feel good about where we're headed. And training has been very good the last couple of weeks, and we feel very positive about the direction we're going in, and we believe in each other. The coaches believe in the players believe in each other, and that's important. And you can't give somebody an A on the first test and they stop trying. So let's go with a B+, A-, but we're certainly headed for a nice little letter grade in the end.
Well, the fans are certainly looking forward to those games, Coach. Let's take a look right now at what practice is like from your perspective as the Braves get ready for the home stretch of the season.
Go, come on. Fantastic week. Have an opportunity to play two great teams. That's what it's all about. So we have a huge week. I talk about segments during the season. We had a 4-game segment. Now we got a 2-game segment here. 4 minutes, ladies. We go 4 minutes, and we switch out the defenders. We go 3 sets, so a total of 12 minutes. Don't be reactionary to the pass. Be proactive. Yes. Open up. You open up there, we can play it across. Yes. We went on vacation to Spain and forgot how to play. Here we go. She digs on the left foot right here. Open. Take on the right foot.
Do I move my feet enough to then play
No.
Way to go, Gina.
I was going to yell at her, but I didn't know if it was Gina or Katie. We move right along. They sit tight like we are right here. Yes, run onto it and strike it. Yes! That's it. Hey, look. Simple there. 1, 2, finish. Right, go. Brilliant. You guys see that they painted the game goals? 12 cans, $60. It was worth every dime of it. Now we're in transition. Drive at. Step the weak side in. Right, ladies, just report to the byline. Bring the drinks with us, yeah? Gonna go 8 sets like that. Yes, way to push it, way to get better, way to challenge each other. Yes. Coach, what do you think? 10 burpees? Well, you don't call them burpees. If that makes them have more fun to you can do it. Then, yeah. Go, come on. It's an encouraging, come on. Not, listen to Britt's voice. Perfect evening to train, perfect evening to get better. Look at that, everybody's pushing it. Yes. Ready for it, and I know you are. Come kickoff time Wednesday, we will be ready for this game. I'm 100% convinced of it. 1, 2, 3. Good job, ladies.
Well, it's always fun to get to see the coach in action. That's going to put a wrap on this week's Black and Gold Report. We hope to see you out at soccer this week as the Braves continue their mammoth homestand. Next week, we'll have your complete 2017 basketball preview, so be sure to tune in for that. Until then, for our great crew here at Old Main, this is Trevor Williams, wishing you a pleasant rest of your day. Thanks for being with us here on the Black and Gold Report.